Hello everyone, and welcome to Sunup. I'm Lyndall Stout. Oklahoma has come a long way in recent years in our ability to grow wheat during challenging conditions, be it weather, insects, or disease. Today on Sunup, we want to return to the North Central Research Station at Lahoma for the recent Wheat Field Day. Let's start with variety development and our wheat breeder, Brett Carver.
Of course, we're always working on new things. That's the name of the game, is to develop something new and better. And we have something, I think, new and better. We just need to decide which one is the best of those. And one that I have a lot of confidence in is an experimental that's right beside me, is the OkState 125. It's a descendant of the variety Overly that came from Kansas State University. We wanted to take some of the fantastic characteristics of Overly, like its yield potential and some disease resistance characteristics, and transfer those to a progeny that would be best adapted to Oklahoma. And so we were able to do that. This line does show some better protection against some very pesky diseases that I just generally group in the leaf spotters. And there are several leaf spotters, but one that comes to mind right away is tan spot. Overly had great tan spot protection. This one does too as well. And some other leaf spotters, I won't go into a lot of detail there, but it just produces a much greener and more healthy canopy, and that healthy canopy usually translates into higher yield. This I foresee as just a broad utility hybrid winter wheat variety. It's been in our program, in testing at least, since 2009, as that number suggests. And so we've had enough looks at it now. We'll need to make a decision this summer. Okay,
let's go take a look at another variety too. So with 09125, any concerns about test weight?
Yes, there would be. We generally try to have a variety that's average or better in test weight, and we have a lot of good examples of that in the variety development program. 09125 tends to be average, maybe below average, enough that has caused concern that we did not release it in the past year in fact. We wanted just as much data as we could possibly gather. And also see how the other experimental lines may match up to it in terms of their test weight and other characteristics.
You have another variety here that you're looking at. Tell us about this one.
Yes, this is a very interesting variety in terms of its history. It really came about quite rapidly. Being a son of Gallagher, and Gallagher is right next to it, so our tour participants can see the differences. I think they will see a difference in yield. This will be an improvement even upon Gallagher, which is is a high bar to try to get over in terms of yield, but I think it will exceed Gallagher. I know one thing that Gallagher does not have, and we worked intensively to try to get that characteristic, and that is green bug resistance. And we know all about the green bug this year because it came back with a vengeance in many of our fields across Oklahoma. This variety would have the protection such that you would not need to apply an insecticide. That's a huge benefit. And then you add on top of that other benefits that would have transferred from Gallagher, like Hessian fly resistance. The leaf hygiene that Gallagher has is also present in this line. All those good things we were looking for Gallagher, we want to continue to improve upon that. And this represents an improvement, but I think the most fascinating thing about this line is not all those agronomic and quality characteristics, but how fast it was produced.
Right.
And the name tells you that it comes out of a certain process called double haploidy, and it's just a scientific term that in very short tells somebody that we produce this inbred line much quicker than we would normally do it. So instead of taking 6 or 7 years to produce an inbred line, which that's what you have to be able to produce a variety, the inbred line was produced in 15 months. So we bypassed a big portion of the breeding process. We don't want to bypass that portion for all variety development projects, but this one we wanted to.
Okay, let's take a look at one more. Our last variety that we want to mention today. Talk about this one and what intrigues you.
What intrigues me is the last character in its name, that's W, and that stands for a white wheat, a hard white wheat. So we have all the characteristics of a hardwood winter except the brand coat is white. And there is such a high demand for that class of wheat, not just in the US, but globally. And we want to be able to meet that demand. Before we can meet that demand, we have to have the agronomic a capability built into the variety, and I think we have that. We did have it in its parent, in the variety OK Rising. Never really had a large place in our production in Oklahoma, and it had very good agronomic characteristics. This one, I'd say about a 5 to 10% yield improvement over OK Rising. But just as important is the fact with white wheat, you want to make sure it doesn't sprout in the head. This one has good sprout protection, so it will not sprout in the head. This one didn't either, but we wanted to maintain that from parent to progeny.
Okay, any potential downside that you see at this stage?
Getting growers to accept and learn more about hard white wheat,
Okay.
and growing it. And you know, it's quite common in other states and to our north, Kansas and Colorado. I think Oklahoma needs to be in that game.
All right.
We have the genetics to do it.
Brett Carver, thank you very much. Fascinating talking with you about all of this as always, and we look forward to see how all of these develop.
Great, my pleasure.